Yo, what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman?
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world, toll-free smoking some big fat doinks where you listen to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal, and Big Earl stopped into town and dropped us off some Devil Driver. Devil Driver is a sativa-dominant hybrid, 70-30, created through crossing the classic Melonade and Sunday Driver strains. Don't let the name of this lovely lady scare you away. Use anything but devilish. In fact, Devil Driver packs a super bright and vibrant high that will get your mind and body moving out of any rut that you might feel like you're stuck in. The high will hit you fast and hard, rushing into your brain with euphoric and energizing scents that get your mental gears turning immediately. A sense of creativity accompanies this happy boost, lending itself well into an artistic task that might have at hand. A lightly tingly body high rounds out the effects, giving you a get-moving feeling that will have you instantly out of bed or off the couch. Thanks to these effects, around 28 to 38% average THC level, Devil Driver is often said to be perfect for treating a variety of conditions, including chronic fatigue, ADD, ADHD, depression, and mood swings, and chronic stress or anxiety. This bud has a sweet and fruity, creamy citrus melon flavor with hints of sugary vanilla and a touch of earthiness. The aroma is very similar with sweet and sour lemon vanilla overtone extended by fresh, fruity melons. Devil Driver buds have a long, peppery-shaped forest green nugs with deep purple undertones, thick amber hairs, and tiny, frosty blue tinted white crystal trichomes. The effects: creative euphoria, happy, uplifting, relieve symptoms of ADD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, fatigue, and stress. Flavors are citrus, creamy, fruity, grape, sugary, sweet, and vanilla. The aromas are citrus, creamy, earthy, grape, lemon, and sour. And that is Devil Driver, given it to us by our good friend, Big Earl. Thank you, Big Earl.
Delicious.
Yes, when you came downstairs where we were getting ready for the show, you're like, oh my gosh, the smell. Yes, this has...
It does have a creaminess about it. Yeah, it's very good.
Very nice. We've smoked this for the last week when he came into town during the day, and this was great for cleaning the house, hanging out outside in the yard, playing with the dog. It is a very good strain. It smokes very well. Ooh, that was a big hit.
Yeah. It smells great when I walked in the room.
Oh, yeah. It's so fragrant. And it does have that vanilla smell to it, too, at the end. I could smell some vanilla. Before we get in the show, Mrs. Weedman is going to tell you all about 8decades.com, our baby.
Yeah. Head on over to 8decades.com. That is spelled out EIGHT, decades.com. That is our online shop where you can find all sorts of information about our podcast, about us, about what we do, what we're all about, why we do these things. But you'll also find our 8 Decades brand. And that is a baby of ours that we developed kind of through...
a smoke sesh night.
Yeah, and just trying to evolve our agenda to advocate for a plant that we love. So we've got great accessories for the cannabis consumer, and we have wonderful hemp clothing. I am a diehard Young Maven fan. Young Maven is American-made hemp clothing, and it is amazing. And we sell their clothing, co-branded with the 8 Decades logo. It's just wonderful hemp clothing. Organic cotton and hemp blend, even some things that are 100% hemp. And it's not hemp like you used to know. It does not feel like a burlap bag. It feels like raw silk. It feels like linen. It feels like fresh cotton. It just drapes so nicely. Love it. So check us out.
Yeah, the shirts are great. I wear them quite often. They're very lovely and very comfortable, and they fit you nicely. And you wash them a couple times, they get softer, and it's just like, wow, so nice. I love the Young Maven brand that we get to have on our website and have our logos on there. So, and my shirts are organic cotton.
Yes, yours are organic cotton and recycled plastics. So we just want to, we do care. We are kind of old school tree huggers, the two of us.
Yes.
We, on the outside, don't look very tree huggery.
But inside
but we're very much internally,
yes.
We care about this earth, and we care about what we put in the earth, what we put in our bodies. Health and wellness is really important to us. So just staying on that avenue of sustainability, but in this case, more affordability. We wanted the 8 Decades line to be a little bit more luxury, and the Weedman 420 is just really good product.
Yep.
But a little kinder price point.
Yeah. The hoodies are great too.
The
Get
hoodies,
yourself a
yeah, it's
hoodie.
recycled plastic,
Yep.
and it's like a French terry cloth
Yes.
with a double-sided hood, so even the hood is lined.
Yes.
It's really comfy.
I wear it as soon as it hits 65 degrees out, that hoodie comes on.
Yeah, so that's the Weedman 420 swag.
Yes.
And that is all American made as well. That comes from a family-owned clothing textile company out of New York. So check us out.
We did our best to make
We
sure
did our
it was,
best.
We did, and forgot the rest.
We didn't want to fill the land with a bunch of junk. We don't do promo promo giveaway stuff.
Plastic
there's
stuff.
enough. There's enough
Right.
bad T-shirts, bad bags, bad sunglasses in
Quality
the world.
is what we're all about.
We're selling things that are intended for your forever things.
Right. So you don't put it in the
You don't have
landfill.
to. They just can be with you for the rest of your life.
Yep.
That's the hope.
Yep. I am very frugal with my clothing. I buy clothes that really try not to go out of style, and they will last for a long time. I'm not a sale shopper. I look for stuff that I'm going to be able to wear for 10 years. I switch my wardrobe around every 10 years. That's bad, isn't it? I think I have shirts from like 15, 20 years that I still wear.
That's okay.
I mean, dress shirts that don't go out
When
of style.
you're a kid, 10 years feels like forever. But I mean, now it feels like, yesterday was like a year ago. It's so fast.
Yes. I like to thank our new sponsors, partners, Goodies Dispensary in Streamwood, Illinois.
Yes.
I'm wearing their shirt. Thank you for the shirt, too. I like to thank the whole crew up there for bringing in our 8 Decades product line and sponsoring the show. We thank you very much, Goodies Dispensary in Streamwood, Illinois. Mr. Weedman's going to be there this Saturday from 1 to 3. This is this Saturday, August 23rd, 1 to 3 p.m. I will be there rolling joints for people.
It's their grand opening.
Their grand opening party. They're going to have DJs, food, fun, probably a bunch of different cultivators, infusers.
Probably giveaways.
Oh, ton of shit, yeah.
Coupons and specials, and there will be you'll be walking out with some good deals.
Yes, and they have great sales there. Their pricing is like an everyday regular price, low price. You can't find that pricing right now, what I'm seeing, what they're selling in their store. So if you can get up to Streamwood, Illinois, to the Goodies, Goodies dispensary in Streamwood, Illinois, August 23rd for the grand opening party. And I'd like to thank them for partnering with 8 Decades. That's amazing. Thank you so much for another dispensary. What is that now? 12?
That is our 12th dispensary,
12th dispensary
in the
here in
Chicagoland
Illinois.
market.
Yeah. Thank you very much for all of our partners out there. And we'll mention more and more of the 12 again. And so we appreciate everyone who donates to the cause and supports 8 Decades. Because as we've said, if you support 8decades.com, we keep on doing this show every week for you. So thank you, everybody out there, for the support and the love. And Goodies, congratulations. So you ever wonder, back in high school in the 90s, actually 80s, sorry, started high school in the 80s, graduated in the 90s.
We were having kids in our 90s.
Yeah, Devil Driver. Woo!
Not starting high school.
Yeah, and when I moved to Florida from the Northeast, I moved down to Florida, and I learned to surf. Wasn't very good. I knew how to get up on the board and right away, but that's all I knew how to do. I was not very good. I didn't know how to do any tricks, but I got up on the board. It was great. The word dude came into my life. Dude. And when I grew up in the Northeast, the only time you ever heard that word was on a movie. No one said that dude in New York.
Not in the Bronx.
No, not in the Bronx. No, absolutely not.
What would your like dude word be in the Bronx?
Word fresh. You look fresh. Homie. Homie was homeboy. Was a homeboy.
Yeah.
That was a big one growing up in the.
I think dude was here.
Not
by you.
No. If someone said the word dude, because they probably lived on Long Island, they surfed at Jones Beach or something, and saw too many Spicoli movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That's probably the first time I heard the word dude.
Or like Cheech and Chong.
It's Cheech and Chong, So, on the West Coast, it wasn't big where I grew up. And then I moved to Florida in 85.
Everybody's a dude.
That was a culture shock for Mr. Weedman from the Bronx, New York.
Dude, what the fuck are you wearing is what they said when they saw you. Dude, so where are you from?
I come busting into Florida with Lee striped jeans, shell top Adidas with black big fat laces.
This would be 1986. So
85, no, 85,
85. So the going
85,
trend would
84.
be like guys with their pant cuff like folded and rolled, and they
Not
might have
us.
top side.
No, not
Wait,
us.
wait.
Yeah.
The general fashion,
Right.
the Catholic schoolboy fashion was probably topsiders, rolled jeans,
Right.
a popped up collar on a polo,
Mhm.
probably pink or powder blue, right?
Right.
And spiked hair ish, or like a gelled comb over.
Not in my area.
Right. Not in New York. This is the
No.
point I'm making.
Right.
This is the environment
Yeah.
you came into. The
Right.
environment you came into was that.
Yes.
Yes. Or
Yeah.
they had
And
like
I went
jean
from
shorts
I
on.
went from Catholic school
Mm-hmm.
to high school, public
Yeah.
8th
So
grade.
you came in
Public
like
8th grade
street style.
in the middle of the year.
But what else did you
In
have?
the middle of the year.
You had like a cute
I had
little
a cute
mustache.
little light mustache.
You had a gold chain.
No, not just one, like 3.
You had your hair like
feathered
a DA.
in the back. Oh yeah, that was the style.
Shell toes.
Oh yeah. I had Lee striped
wife
jeans that
beater
were blue,
jeans. Yeah.
blue
Uh-huh.
with black stripes, and I
Striped.
wore a black shirt,
Fuck yeah.
black collared champ shirt.
I've been like, hey, you.
Yeah, that was.
Who are you?
Like,
dude, who are you?
right. And so when I moved, and I started hearing this word, and I started learning how to surf, and you start getting, the word was always used. And so I never really knew the history of the word so much, but I remember in high school, this one smart ass kid, every time someone called him a dude, he's like, I'm not a hair in an elephant's ass. That's what the word dude meant. And that was the joke. This kid
just hated the word.
He was a heavy metal.
So he's like,
and he didn't like the surfers, and he didn't like the skateboarders. He was heavy metal. Devil spikes, just everything, Satan stuff all over him. But that's who he was.
Goth.
And he used to just say, I'm not a hair in an elephant's ass. I'm not a hair in an elephant's ass.
Wow.
That was the running
He was very
joke.
literal.
Oh, yeah.
He just didn't like, no messing around with this guy.
So for a child of the 80s or 90s, the word dude conjures up a specific vibe. A laid-back California surfer skater, perhaps drinking a White Russian, unbothered or maybe unaware of the pressing concerns of the world around him. It was also the word that defied specificity, used as a greeting, an agreement, or commiseration, or an exclamation. Dude was everywhere. But it wasn't new word back then, not even close. By the 1980s, the term dude had been around for at least 100 years. The word of the week we explore as long winding road, dude, took from New York City to the surfers in California. Where did dude come from? The exact origin of the word has been difficult to Can you say that word for me?
Linguistic.
Thank you. To pin down, but Gerald Cohen, a professor at Missouri University of Science and Technology, published a book on the topic in 2023 with 2 other language scholars. Cohen says it seems to have been coined in reaction to a particular fad among young men in New York City in the late 19th century. Think hipsters of the 1880s. They were young, they were vicarious, they were effeminate, and they were drawing a bit of attention from the humorist and the cartoonist, Cohen told NPR. He says this crowd had a certain way of dressing, usually over the top and fancy, and leaned into Anglophile style, lifestyle that was often perceived as many as a fake or trying too hard. Try hard. Eventually, these men became known as dudes, likely in reference to Yankee Doodle, who, as the old war song goes, was unsophisticated American who stuck a feather in his cap in an attempt to parade as a kind of European dandy in high society.
This is very interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Cohen and his colleagues spent more than 20 years trying to pinpoint the moment that reference was first made, combining over old newspaper archives and pop culture references from the time. They eventually found a poem published in a New York City newspaper titled The Dude, written by a little-known poet named Robert Sale Hill, where he derides the fad. Here are the final lines. America can ill afford to harbor such deformity, and we would humbly thank the Lord to spare us this enormity. But Cohen says the poem had the opposite effect. It caused a social craze, and all of a sudden, dude was appearing all over, he says. An 1883 article from the New York Times describes a dude's picnic where thousands of young people rushed to a park in Harlem at the promise of seeing men in full dude dress. The hipsters of the time. The Dude Ranch. It was often over-the-top style of dress that brought about the term dude ranch. Experts say in the late 19th century, traveling out west and experiencing cowboy culture was trendy. People, mostly men, would come from the East Coast cities like New York to ranches on vacations, often dressed as full cowboy attire, according to Bryce Albright, executive director of the National Dude Ranchers Association, an organization that's been around for almost 100 years. It was a very big dress up for those people because that's not something they owned, before they decided to take this vacation, says Albright. And so it's kind of turned into the trademark. Ranchers started advertising themselves as dude ranchers to attract visitors, and the name stuck. So did the attire. And even still, you see people show up today that have just brand new Wranglers, button pearl-up shirts, fancy boots, cowboy hats none of us could ever think of affording. And it's fun to see them get dressed up, she says. The shift to the everyman. In the mid-20th century, the term dude traveled further across the country, making its way to African-American and Mexican-American populations, says Scott Kinsling, a linguistics professor at the University of Pittsburgh, who also studied the word. The term's rise coincided with the zoot suit, also very flashy and full of fabric. I love the 20s dress. So did you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you always said, I wish we grew up in the 20s to just go
The
to the
roaring
dancing.
20s,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah.
Flapper.
And popular with men of color, he says. He says originally it seems we were called dude or more of a derogatory term. And then what we think happened, which is what happens to a lot of kind of situations, Mexican, American, and black people adopted with each other. And it became the mark of solidarity and connection, Kisling says. From there, it started to become less associated with fancy dress, more with masculinity, and other subgroups started picking it up, particularly the surfers and skaters out in California, which is when Hollywood really got the hold of it in the 1980s and 1990s. Now, Kinsling says the word, which began in reference to young men, has lost a lot of its gender connotation, but it's still meant to show familiarity with a person. Maybe you don't use it with your boss or a stranger, but with your friends or acquaintances to show that you're in the same group. And don't be fooled, even with the rise of bro. Yes, you know that? Like, bro is taking over dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Huge. What up, bro?
It's so
What up, bro?
common.
Like,
It's a greeting.
like 10 years
yeah.
ago, 15 years ago, people started using the word, probably like 10 years, like when I heard people using it all the
Yeah.
time, especially if you don't know somebody's name.
Bro.
What up, bro?
But girls, like, I could say dude, but I wouldn't say bro.
Right. But would you say dude to a girl, to another
No.
girl? Right. You'd say it to a guy only.
Yeah, but I probably wouldn't. But yeah. Dude.
You
you say it to a girl. I do.
But you
yeah.
say it in the car, people like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like if they drive fucked up,
Yeah, I
you're like,
guess I
dude, what
do.
the fuck you doing? And you would say it a lot. So dude is still used the most. I think people just don't notice it as much, he says. Rock on, dude. That was a long article, but I wanted to read the whole thing.
I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting as hell.
Yeah.
So I should have had you go next, though, so I can get a break. But
You want a break?
Nope. I'll do
Okay.
this pretty quick because this is just about cannabis can help returning astronauts. This is from the Fresh Toast. Space, the final frontier. These are adventures of the Weedman 420 Chronicles and me and Mrs. Weedman and some fat doinks. We're floating through the strange new strains, discovering higher dimensions, exploring fresh highs, blazing boldly where no toker has chilled before. Strap in, spark up, and let's ride this cosmic wave together, Mrs. Weedman.
All right.
Space.
Ooh.
What's up, everyone? All you space invaders. Great game. Great video game. Remember at the arcade?
mhm.
We're
I'm terrible
driving
at
into
it.
some straight up intergalactic green science because turns out cannabis might have a role in helping astronauts bounce back after space travel. You heard it right. Our favorite plant could be the key to easing the aches and pains of returning to Earth. Space is no joke on the human body. Over 700 humans have traveled beyond our atmosphere. Every single one comes back dealing with the stress of liftoff, zero-G floating, and gravity slamming back into the bones and muscles. We're talking muscle atrophy, joint pain, inflammation, even nausea and appetite loss. It's like your body forgot how Earth works. Enter cannabis. Studies and researchers are showing that cannabinoids could help astronauts manage a lot of those post-flight woes. CBD is showing promise in reducing systematic inflammation, helping with sore muscles and joints, and even supporting bone health. super critical when your bones need a little love after floating for weeks. THC, on the other hand, could help manage nausea and bring back that appetite, and sometimes goes MIA after reentry. Basically, this is the plant trifecta of recovery benefits that could help a real and make a real difference. Now, before anyone pictures astronauts sparking up in orbit, we got to be real. Federalist restrictions and space agency policies still make that a no-go. But experts, including former astronauts, are talking about the plant-based therapies for post-flight recovery, especially non-psychoactive cannabinoids like CBD. And with private space travel on the rise, SpaceX, Blue Origin, and civilians getting into orbit, these folks might need every edge they can bounce back after the cosmic adventures. The future could see cannabis integrated into recovery protocols, helping humans heal after the extreme stress of space. We're still waiting on more clinical trials, but the potential is huge. Imagine touching down from Mars on a long space mission, and your recovery kit includes targeted cannabinoids to ease inflammation, boost appetites, and support bone and strength. The next level out of this world healing powered by a little green goodness. So yeah, cannabis isn't just about chilled vibes. It might one day be a crucial tool for astronauts coming back from the final frontier. And honestly, that's the kind of science that meets Stoner Story will live for here on the show. Did you like that little space? Man, Star Trek. I had to. It took me about like 45 minutes to come up with I was stuck on some of those words. So, but I did, because I created a song called Here Comes Santa Kush. Remember that? I sung that. I don't remember what episode that was, but I came up with that. And then Dob Boy and I came up with the 420 read. I used to read every 420. We came up with that one too. So, but that took a little bit. That was a little rough out in the brain to take that Star Trek. Had the Star Trek, basically the Star Trek up, like all the words up, and I just picked and choose like underneath it, like to plug
different
in
words.
Yeah. Is that copyright infringement? No? Perfect. I love it. So tell us about the biggest misconception about weed. Green State, Mrs. Weedman.
Most cannabis customers and many cannabis brands use THC percentage as the default metric for value and quality. So this may sound, I'm interjecting here, like a really redundant subject. We've been talking about this a lot lately, but not everybody listens to every episode, number one. And number two, this is a big part of what anyone who's shopping at a dispensary is dealing with. So it is something that we need to keep talking about because it's an important topic and people need to understand it and know what's going on. So THC is the default metric for value and quality. Walk into almost any dispensary and you'll find flower priced and promoted based on almost entirely potency. So think about that. They make more money when the potency is higher. Just so happens that potency is what drives price, and somehow the consumer correlates that with quality. Okay. But continuing to judge cannabis on a single criterion does a disservice to customers and talented cultivators, and it hinders growth in new consumers. It's time to move on from potency. THC is the main psychoactive compound in cannabis, but it is far from the only compound that matters. Most consumers' bodies can only process up to about 20% THC before their receptors are saturated. Beyond that point, higher THC numbers often don't correlate to stronger or better experiences. In some cases, they even lead to overwhelming and uncomfortable highs. THC is an inconsistent and unreliable metric. Potency can vary within a single plant. From the top colas to the lowest growing buds, the testing is across batches too, and that only increases the variability. THC also degrades over time and behaves differently within different consumption methods. A joint and an edible containing the same THC percentage can produce radically different experiences because the body processes them in entirely different ways. A heavy focus on THC also encourages cultivators to lab shop. This is where producers seek out labs that will return the highest THC results, creating a broken system where lab results serve marketing more than science and consumers. Growers are increasingly pressured to abandon unique, flavorful, or medicinal cultivars simply because they don't test above 25% THC. That means that we are all losing genetic diversity, terpene rich strains, and valuable consumption experiences that don't fit neatly into the high THC equals better weed narrative. Even more concerning, this trend discourages long term consumer growth. Many of the new customers entering the cannabis space today are looking for wellness benefits, creativity, relaxation, or better sleep. Most don't want to be overwhelmed by the highest potency products on the shelf. And if their first cannabis experience is too intense, they are unlikely to return. In a growing but still fragile industry, that's a risk that no one can afford. It's clear that focusing on THC potency is misleading, but what should replace it? Here are a few alternatives that could offer promise. How about terpene profiles? Terpene drives flavor, aroma, and many of the psychoactive effects. They're a better predictor of experience than THC alone, and much more useful for consumers looking to tailor their cannabis use. You could do effect based categorization, moving away from outdated sativa indica labels toward functional descriptors like relax, focus, or sleep would improve clarity and consistency across brands. Unfortunately, though, much of the industry's technological backbone requires sativa indica and hybrid to categorize products. Visual systems and simplified ratings. How about that? How about color coding, icons, or experience wheels that could better help consumers navigate their options without needing to understand cannabinoid chemistry? Because some people don't want to have to know all these technicalities. They want to look at a picture and there's a wheel and it has a big slice of fun and a medium slice of chill and a small slice of, euphoria or something like that.
That's a nice pizza pie.
Hey. Pizza, pizza. It's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Consumers, how about this? They can record the products they use, track their effects, and then match them with the lab results on the package. This is incredibly personalized, though, and it's also time consuming, so not for everybody. AI can be useful, and many tools like Canaleptic, Canalytics, and Terply are emerging to assist customers with choosing the correct product for the desired outcomes. Eliminating THC percentages from flower compliance labeling would be another option. For flower and non infused pre rolls, THC percentages may be unnecessary altogether. We don't sell coffee beans based on caffeine content. Cannabis flower could be marketed on more holistic experience based factors too. Cannabis is a complex plant, and consumers deserve more than one dimensional numbers. We need to move beyond THC percentages and embrace a broader language, one that reflects the real qualities that make cannabis valuable: its flavor, aroma, effects, and ability to meet each consumer's unique needs.
We need to bring back that 70s weed again.
Yeah, right?
We need to bring back that weed that
You just get
it's
like
not
a
just straight THC. It's got a mixture of a little bit of everything. We need to bring back that weed that doesn't crush you. That gets you so zooted you can't talk.
there needs to be high dose products out there
of course.
for some illnesses
Yeah.
or some people who just have extreme
Yeah.
tolerance. There is a need for all of it, but
Mhm.
usually if you're that experienced of a consumer, you kind of if it's a tolerance thing, you probably know what you need with
Probably need a little
cannabis.
TB break then.
But you also know what you like at this point, But I think for the entry level, for the general public, I think the wheel, having the pie chart, having little icons for the feelings and things, it would be huge. It would be so much
It needs to be.
easier for people.
Some places try to put it on their menus as best they
Right.
can, and then you can go to their
Yeah,
websites.
they do have like the effects
Yes.
and the flavors. Yeah.
My whole thing is I see strains and I see vape cartridges at 95%, and it's just
Why?
and it's just straight
It's just
95%
THC.
THC. You're just destroying yourself. You don't need to hit that a lot. You know, you don't I can talk about this forever, but I've been saying this on the show for a very long time. Give me all the cannabinoids. I want 3% of this, 8% of this. I only want like a 10% THC because if you give me those other cannabinoids in there that I want, oof, I don't. THC is just the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That's the icing on the cake. The layers are everything else,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So your icing is the THC, which puts you in the euphoric effect that you want, a little psychoactive effect that we all love and enjoy about it, calms you down. But we also want the CBG, the CBC, the CBN. We want the mother of all cannabinoids. We want CBD. We want them all. We
Mm-hmm.
want some THCV in there. We want that mixture, that blend. So like, if you're just shooting yourself with straight THC, that's why your tolerance goes down. Your body wasn't meant to have just straight THC all the time. It's just not meant to have it. You got to have a balance of ratio in there for your
Tolerance
body.
goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, you're reading now that people who enjoyed weed most of their life can't smoke it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to many people that can't smoke weed anymore. It's a shame. They're like, I can't smoke it anymore. Just
Because of the high
oh
potency.
yeah, their body
flower.
wasn't meant to have that.
Yeah.
Their body was meant
Well, like
to.
they said, you're in that article I just read. Like, it's a fact. Your body can only consume or process like 20% THC.
Right.
So anything above it is excess. And that's going to lead to bad feelings for some people.
Yeah.
And that's not
It's
really
just
what you
sad
want
that
from
people
weed.
like can't use it anymore, and they're
Mhm.
talking like it. Some people are saying it like ruined my life now, and it's like when I hear what they went through. Like I smoked it from the time got up from the time I went to bed. Really? There's people out there that do. I'm not here to judge. This is not.
There's a lot of people who do.
There's a lot. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people that
Yeah.
need it from the time they wake up, from the time they go to bed. But there's some people that didn't, and now they paid the price because they can't use cannabis anymore. You know, or maybe
Right.
they need to take a long break and get back into it one day with some ratio stuff.
But
I don't know.
some of the people that we've talked to who have said, "Oh God, I used to smoke all day, all the time. Can't even touch this stuff anymore."
Right.
Like they don't even have a willingness to give it. Like they really burned out on
Yeah.
it. But it's interesting because you'd think they'd want to be able to go back to it because it was
Right.
such a big part of their life.
Right.
Yeah. But whatever happened, it just
Yeah.
really turned them off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Umami, when we had him on the show, first year, right? And he remember him, he was saying that he doesn't even get high anymore, at least
Yeah.
takes a real hot dab. You remember he said that? He goes, I love the flavor. I just don't get high anymore from it. I'm like, yeah, this sucks. I feel bad for you.
Sad for you.
I think I said that on the show. I think you said that on the show. I feel bad.
I'm sorry.
It sucks. Oh, man. As you get older, or maybe when you're younger, you look into, and you're married, or you just want it for yourself, you look into things as you need to buy to help life insurance, 401k, Roth IRA, investments, whatever. You're going to retire or want to retire one day, or maybe you retire early because you did well for yourself in what you did. But as a husband and a wife, we have life insurance policies for one another. And then if something happens to both of us, it goes to our kids. You know, it's what you do for your loved one. So if you pass away, you don't leave them stuck with everything if you're not financially able to. So you buy what you can afford, and hopefully you look at your bills and your overall expenses, your debt, and what happens if your income is at a loss for your spouse or your partner. So you make sure you have enough life insurance to cover that debt, so they don't have to worry about any hospital bills, any debt on the home, cars, credit card debt. They can pay all off and start fresh and new, and you leave them with that as a sign of love, as a sign of, you know, you made fun of me because I had very, very low.
Yeah. There was a pretty big difference between how much he would get and how much I would get. I was like, you better step it up, mister. Starting to feel like I better check my drink before I drink it.
But I had it more in investments than I did on life insurance policy. I have it.
You want to take a sip first?
You
Should I be watching my back?
But see, I have more in assets and in investments for you. You get everything. So that was my life insurance policy for you. You get all the cash.
Blah, 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 blah. He's
But
backpedaling now.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm going to say
No,
we
we
stepped
really
it up.
just didn't realize that it was
We
that
actually
way.
didn't,
Right.
and we stepped it up, and now we have good life insurance policies. They build some equity.
Even Steven.
Yeah, here you go. Wonder twin powers. And so you just do that for your loved one, or
How do we get to talking about
because
life
this
insurance?
is marijuana and life insurance.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was high and spaced out for a minute.
Fucking
there.
devil driver. So that's why I was kind of
I
like
went
just
for a drive.
yeah, with the devil.
Yeah.
In the pale moonlight. Marijuana and life insurance. Yeah, you heard that right. Your favorite green could play a role in your premiums. Now, don't freak out. Using cannabis doesn't automatically get you denied. Insurers are warming up, especially in the medicinal or occasional use. First off, let's be clear. They err. Using marijuana doesn't automatically mean you're going to get denied life insurance. In fact, many insurers are chilling with it, especially if you're using it medicinally or occasionally. But like with anything, it depends how often or you're partaking and how you are partaking. If you're hitting the vape or munching on edibles a few times a week, you might still be considered a non-smoker. But if you're puffing daily, especially if you're smoking it, that could bump you into the smoker category, which might hike up your premiums. And if you're using it medicinally, insurers might want to know what condition you're treating and whether it's under control. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Some insurers are even offering policies that don't require a medical exam. That's right, you could potentially skip the whole needle and cup routine if you're applying online and meet certain criteria. But remember, honesty is key. If you're caught hiding your marijuana use, that could lead to a denial on your application or payout refusal down the line. You have to be honest. I had to. I work in the cannabis industry, so and I still got it. Frequently asked questions. Will marijuana use raise my life insurance premium? It may, but depends on insurance companies you choose. The details of your uses matter. 2, social marijuana use may not matter to one insurer, while another may deem it high risk. Remember that marijuana use is only one of several factors that insurers consider when determining rates. Every company is different, and you only have to find out what your options are by getting quotes from a range of companies. What happens if you start using marijuana after I've already gotten a life insurance policy? If you start using marijuana after you've purchased a life insurance, there will be no impact on your premium. Insurers only consider the results of a health exam and any health-related questions, and they ask at the time of your purchase. Note, however, if you buy another policy in the future, your cannabis use will need to be disclosed and can impact future rates. Do life insurance companies test for marijuana use? When you apply for life insurance, some insurers may require you to take a medical exam. I had to, which might include giving your urine and blood samples. Yes, you had to do both. And you get your temperature taken and your blood pressure taken. If THC is found in your bloodstream and you didn't disclose marijuana used, an insurer may deny your application. So what's the takeaway? If you're a casual user, you might not see much of a difference in your premiums. But if you're a daily user, especially if you're smoking, it could affect your rates. The best move, be upfront with your insurer, shop around for the best rate, and maybe consider switching to edibles or vapes if you're looking to keep things on the down low. So just a little knowledge. I sold life and health insurance for a company. I lasted a year.
You were also like 19.
I was 20. I was 20. Yeah, I was 19, 20. That was the worst mistake in my life.
Job.
Oh, yeah. They should have not. I was not ready.
For a not serious guy at the time.
No. I smoked weed a lot back then too. And I was working in the bar industry too. And I did, work till 5 and then I got to go to the office at 9 a.m. making cold calls. That sucked.
No.
That blew.
No.
I had lasted a year.
Now, you went through a lot, though. You had to get...
The training was a lot.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Taking the state board.
Yeah, you had to take it for life. You had to take it to life and health. Yeah, it was... I learned a lot. I did. I learned a lot. I just wasn't ready to be able to have that kind of a hard sell. The cold calling. Oh, my God. You're on the phone 5 days a week cold calling 100 people a day to maybe get one appointment. That's brutal. You're on the hi.
It may have been your inexperience too, because you sounded like, what would you know at 20 years old about life insurance? I
was talking to 65-year-old.
Like, how would you know to I
wasn't even touching life insurance. I was selling more of the health insurance aspect of it. I was selling supplements to seniors 65 and older. Medicare supplements.
Oh my gosh.
A, B, C,
right.
D.
So, how could you even relate to them?
19, 20, Suave Bola
Yeah.
talking to a 65-year-old husband and wife, and they're looking at me like, who the
Who's
fuck
this
is this kid?
I think the tough sell was partially
Right.
age.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I did sell some. I did. I mean, not a ton, but I did. But it's just rough. Whew, man. Medical marijuana effectively treats pain, with terpenoids being more influential than THC or CBD, this study shows. Tell us about it, Ms.
Oh,
Weedman.
that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, devil driver.
Yeah.
Everybody, devil
I'm
driver.
just listening to you talk. Marijuana users have superior performance across multiple cognitive domains, according to a new large-scale study funded by the U.S. federal government. The research, published this month as a preprint by Nature Portfolio, analyzed brain imaging and cognitive data from 37,929 participants in the United Kingdom aged 44 to 81 years old. The team found that cannabis consumers consistently outperformed non-users on a range of cognitive tests, suggesting that marijuana use may be linked to brain network patterns typically observed in younger individuals.
Hold on one second. I screwed up. I
You
said
did?
the wrong title.
You did,
I
yeah?
did. This one is marijuana users have enhanced cognitive abilities.
What did you say?
Largely federally funded shows. That's your third article. I screwed up on the terpenoid one. Sorry, everybody, if you're
But
wondering
I
what
was
the...
in La La Land, so I was like, I got you.
I was...
I'm
man,
reading the right article.
You are.
Okay.
I just read the wrong title.
We're
Sorry,
doing good over
everybody.
here.
Sorry.
We're just driving. Just driving.
All right.
Driving. I don't know where I am. Oh, I'm back here. I'm back. All right. These findings suggest that cannabis use may be associated with a deceleration of neural aging processes and the preservation of cognitive function in older adults, the paper says. They pointed out that older adults now represent the fastest growing group of cannabis users, increasingly using it to manage chronic physical and mental health conditions. To address gaps in previous research around marijuana's effects on aging, the research team utilized advanced neuroimaging techniques, which included brain scans and cognitive assessments from tens of thousands of participants in the UK Biobank. The data revealed that cannabis users demonstrated brain network characteristics typically associated with younger brains, along with enhanced cognitive abilities, highlighting a potential modulatory role for cannabinoids and endocannabinoids in neurodegenerative processes, potentially supporting cognitive resilience. These benefits were noted from midlife into the late 60s and beyond. The observed effects imply, what do they imply? That cannabinoids may exert neuroprotective influences in aging populations.
What?
Give me more.
Mind
Give me
blown.
more. Keep my brain healthy. The study's large scale has the potential to make it a landmark contribution to the field of marijuana and aging research. Meanwhile, a study published last year found that marijuana use is associated with lower odds of subjective cognitive decline, with people who consume cannabis for recreational or medical purposes reporting less confusion and memory loss compared to non-users. I'll take that.
Mind blown.
Yeah. While the long-term effects of cannabis use are far from settled science, these findings from a number of recent studies suggest some fears have been overblown. A report published in April that drew on dispensary data, for instance, found that cancer patients reported being able to think more clearly when using medical marijuana. They also said it helped manage pain. A separate study of teens and young adults at risk of developing psychotic disorders found that regular marijuana use over a 2-year period did not trigger early onset psychosis symptoms, contrary to the claims of prohibitionists who argue that cannabis causes mental illness. In fact, it was associated with modest improvements in cognitive functioning and reduced uses of medications. Ha. A win. Yes. Yet another study published by the American Medical Association. These are big big studies, people.
Big
This is
names.
like big stuff.
Big names.
Last year, looked at data from more than 63 million health insurance beneficiaries, and it determined that there's no statistically significant increases in psychosis-related diagnoses in states that have legalized marijuana compared to those that continue to criminalize it. Got that? What does that say over there? Reefer madness. You're going to go insane. You're going to go crazy. Studies from 2018, meanwhile, found that marijuana may actually increase working memory and that cannabis use doesn't actually change the structure of the brain. Woohoo for weed, keeping my brain and my body in fighting condition.
Insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain.
That was a banger by Marijuana Moment right there.
Yeah.
Oof. Some big studies too. That research was huge. Inside the quest to understand the link between cannabis and schizophrenia. All right. Check this out. There's been a lot of talk about cannabis and mental health, and one of the heaviest topics is the connection with schizophrenia. Don't freak out. This isn't about scaring anyone off their favorite strains. It's about understanding what the science is actually saying. Schizophrenia is a chronic brain disorder that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. We're talking hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized thinking, a heavy set of symptoms that researchers are still trying to fully understand. Cannabis has been under the microscope for years, with researchers asking the big question: does using cannabis increase the risk of developing schizophrenia, or does it just trigger symptoms in those already predisposed? Some recent studies are giving us clues. For example, a study in Ontario's found that cannabis legalization in Canada in 2018, the contribution of cannabis use to schizophrenia nearly tripled from 3.7% to 10.3%. It's a huge jump and definitely caught the attention of scientists. But here's the key takeaway. There still isn't a direct causal link between cannabis and schizophrenia. In other words, just because someone smokes doesn't mean they'll develop the condition. But for folks already at risk, especially with family history, cannabis could act as a trigger. So what does this mean for your daily smoke session? Casual users likely face low risk. But if there's a personal or family history of schizophrenia, moderation is wise. Staying informed and mindful of how your brain reacts is the best move. Bottom line, cannabis is still being studied and mental health is complex. More research is needed, but knowing the risk and making informed choices is key. Enjoy your green, keep it chill, and always respect your mind and body. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Marijuana. Now, this is the article that I fucked up on the title. I'm good right this minute. I'm high as fuck.
I thought I'd take it up a notch.
Whew. Medical marijuana effectively treats pain, with terpenoids being more influential than THC or CBD, study shows. I haven't coughed in years. And that strain, I had to turn away for a second. Remember, right in the beginning, that made me cough, and I was like, I haven't
Yeah.
coughed. When was the last time
Right.
you see me cough?
It's been a minute.
Never.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you've ever seen me cough. And this was the one that got me for a minute.
I will say, like, on the note of health and consumption, I don't smoke cigarettes. I did smoke cigarettes when I was a kid. Really, I was a kid. I stopped when I had kids, which I was just shy of being a kid.
You're only in your third year of your
I haven't
adulthood.
smoked in like 30 years, a cigarette. I don't miss it one bit. I love a joint, and I probably smoke a joint a day.
Think so?
Smoke.
Yeah.
Like, actually smoke. And
But it's not at once.
right.
Yeah.
But my point that I'm getting to is I also go to a lot of doctors. Woo me. Woohoo. And I have a lot of tests regularly. And I was just told by another ENT specialist at a really good hospital, like, you have a wonderful throat. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it.
And your
Okay, great.
lungs too.
And then my pulmonologist
Yeah.
is like, your lungs are great. I got extra big lungs. It's from all the inhaling, maybe. All right. So anyway, I'm not promoting or condoning smoking, but so far for my body, it's doing me okay. All right, medical marijuana. Let's get back to the topic. Medical marijuana effectively treats pain. I can contest to that, with terpenoids being more influential than THC or CBD, study shows. So we're going to talk about this again because THC and CBD, most of what we're consuming, if you're consuming a commercial product or using a commercial topical or an edible, it is really going to be just THC or CBD
I
unless
mean,
there's added terpenes,
yep.
okay? Because everything to make those concentrates is basically deconstructed down to just plain old THC. That's your extraction. That's what goes into vapes. They add they add flavor, and they may add some natural terpenoids that may not even come from the cannabis plant. They may come from fruits or
Mhm.
things of that nature. So,
Miss Weedman killing the
bang.
knowledge.
I'm really high. I'm going to try to stay on topic here, okay? So, let's hear about this. This would also be known as full spectrum, having more than THC or CBD. So you have all of the benefits, okay? Medical marijuana has genuine therapeutic effects for pain management, and the degree of relief provided by cannabis can be predicted by their specific chemical profile, including not only cannabinoids but also terpenoids, according to a newly published study. These results highlight the importance of considering the full range of cannabis compounds when developing more precise and effective cannabis based therapies for pain management, says the report, published in the journal Communications Medicine. It also furthers the notion that some combinations of the many compounds in cannabis work in concert to provide heightened relief, a concept known as the entourage effect. An underlying goal of this research was to contribute to the ongoing scientific debate whether cannabis truly reduces pain or if patients feel better simply because they expect it to work, also known as the placebo effect, authors explained. To do that, they looked at 329 medical marijuana patients, and analyzed the chemical makeup of the products they used. We found that patients' pain improvement could be predicted from the chemical content of their cannabis, even though patients didn't know what chemicals they were receiving, the team wrote. This suggests that cannabis provides real pain relief beyond just patient expectations. One notable finding is that the primary cannabinoids, THC and CBD, offered only limited predictive value of a product's pain relieving effects. Other minor compounds, specifically alpha bisabolol and eucalyptol, instead emerged as key predictors of treatment response. An unexpected finding was the relatively minimal impact of cannabinoids such as THC and CBD on pain relief outcomes, which stands in contrast to popular belief and previous reports, the study says. While THC and CBD are often highlighted for their therapeutic potential, our analysis revealed other compounds, including A-bisabolol and eucalyptol, as more influential in the context of pain relief. As for the entourage effect, the report suggests that specific combination of compounds work better at managing pain than individual chemical components. Did I just read the same thing twice, or am I just really high?
I think you're high.
Okay. Moving on. The complex relationship we observed between cannabis composition and pain relief helps explain why previous studies focusing on individual compounds have often shown mixed results, the study says. Our analysis suggests that therapeutic effects emerge from specific combinations of compounds working in concert rather than from any single component. This complexity in medical cannabis's mechanism of action emphasizes the importance of considering the full chemical profile when investigating cannabis therapeutic properties, it adds. Overall, researchers, something's dinging, researchers from Technion Israel Institute of Technology in Haifa, Israel, said the findings also provide further evidence of medical marijuana's analgesic properties. The new paper contributes to a growing body of research supporting the use of marijuana as a treatment for pain. For example, a study published recently in the journal Pharmacy found that patients with chronic pain who used marijuana for at least 1 year exhibited significantly lower healthcare utilization compared to non users, reporting fewer visits to urgent care and emergency departments, as well as a higher quality of life. Hospitalization rates were also lower among chronic pain patients who used medical marijuana, the report found, though not enough to be statistically significant. Exposure to cannabis was associated with a 2.0 percentage point reduction in urgent care visits and a 3.2 percentage point reduction in emergency department visits and fewer unhealthy days per month, said the report authored by researchers at the Miami based cannabis telehealth company Leafwell and George Mason University in Virginia. The findings of this study suggest that medical cannabis is likely an effective treatment option for patients with chronic pain, authors wrote. This underscores the potential for not only quality of life gains associated with medical cannabis use, but also positive downstream effects on the healthcare system resulting from treatment. Another study published earlier this year found that more than 8 in 10 patients who used medical marijuana reported it to be a useful tool for pain management. Published in May in the journal Curious, the report stemmed from a survey in Pennsylvania between October of 22 and December of 24. It said it provides important insight into the real-world patterns, perceived efficacy, and cognitive effects of medical cannabis use among individuals with chronic musculoskeletal pain who employ cannabis regularly over extended periods. Over 80% of patients who turned to medical cannabis found it effective for managing their pain. Co-author Mohammed Kak, a researcher at the Rothman Opioid Foundation, said in a press release at that time. All told, more than 180 different cannabinoids have now been isolated from the cannabis plant, often interacting with different parts of the body. The two most abundant and studied cannabinoids, THC and CBD, along with an understudied cannabinoid, cannabigerol, or CBG, have been shown in our laboratories to reduce neuropathic pain in animal models, authors wrote, recommending that further study into cannabinoids like THC, CBD, and CBG should focus on the optimal therapeutic doses and the effects these cannabinoids can have on the management of chronic neuropathic pain in humans.
That's big.
Ooh.
Take a break. Take a drink of water. This is a long one.
Good.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I got big lungs. Separate research published earlier this year in the journal Pain found that marijuana was comparatively more effective than prescription medications for treating chronic pain after a 3-month period, and that many patients reduced their use of opioid painkillers while using cannabis. A recently federally funded study, meanwhile, found that legalization of marijuana in the United States is associated with reduced prescriptions for opioid pain medications among commercially insured adults, indicating a possible substitution effect where patients are choosing to use cannabis instead of prescription drugs to treat pain. Mm-hmm. These results suggest that substitution of cannabis for traditional pain medications increases as the availability of recreational cannabis increases. Authors of that report wrote, noting that there appears to be a small shift once recreational cannabis becomes legal, but we see stronger results once users can purchase cannabis at recreational dispensaries. Reductions in opioid prescription fills stemming from recreational cannabis legalization may prevent exposure to opioids in patients with pain, the paper published in the journal Cannabis continues, and lead to decreases in the number of new opioid users, rates of opioid use disorder, and related harms. Other recent research also showed a decline in fatal opioid overdoses in jurisdictions where marijuana was legalized for adults. Authors estimated that the recreational marijuana legalization is associated with a decrease of approximately 3.5 deaths per 100,000 individuals. Our findings suggest that broadening recreational marijuana access could help address the opioid epidemic, the report said. About 1 in 3 chronic pain patients reported using cannabis as a treatment option, according to a 2023 American Medical Association published report. Most of that group said they used cannabis as a substitute for other pain medications, including opioids. Other research published that year found that letting people buy CBD legally significantly reduced opioid prescription rates, leading to 6.6 to 8.1% fewer opioid prescriptions. A report published recently in the journal BMJ Open compared medical marijuana and opioids for chronic non cancer pain and found that cannabis may be similarly effective and result in fewer discontinuations than opioids. Yay! Potentially offering comparable relief with a lower likelihood of adverse effects. Yay! That's great. Separate research published found that 57% of patients with chronic musculoskeletal pain said cannabis was more effective than other analgesic medications, while 40% reported reducing their use of painkillers since they began using marijuana. Yay! A separate presentation reviewing research on student athletes' use of cannabis recently found that marijuana has demonstrated positive findings as an alternative for pain management among NCAA athletes.
Yep.
Yay! Yet another study found that 40% of military veterans suffering from chronic pain reported using marijuana to treat their symptoms. Most of them said they use cannabis to deal with pain, mobility, and sleep issues, while a substantial number of veterans also said it helps with PTSD, anxiety, and stress. 98% of participants said healthcare providers should discuss the use of natural products with their patients. Doctors, it is time to get educated.
Mm-hmm. I just read it today, last couple days ago, that alcohol is
Just
down
dropping.
54%. People are not drinking alcohol anymore in the United States. 54% have not stopped drinking liquor.
We were brainwashed to believe that it was okay for your body. Well, we were brainwashed to think that cannabis was going to harm us and hurt us.
And you just read a fantastic article by Marijuana Moment that just explained what those cannabinoids and terpenoids and everything can do for you. I like the 50 and up people, our age, killing it with that, you know? Just good stuff. That was a long one. Take a break, Mrs. Weedman.
I'm all right. I'm good.
Political, state, and business news. Big moves in Chicago cannabis scene. Dispensary 33 bud tenders just voted to join the Teamsters Local 777. This win boasts the union's presence in Illinois, aiming for better wages, job security, workplace safety. As bud tender Finn Allen puts it, we're stronger and more collaborative now. Looks like the Green Wave's got some muscle behind it. Jimmy Hoffa turning in his grave. Never thought the Teamsters would be into cannabis, but they probably, some of the truckers would probably like moving it across the country.
They've been moving cannabis forever, as long as they've been moving pineapples. Maybe longer.
Illinois is lighting up opportunities for cannabis social equity licenses. The state's offering loans to qualified craft growers, infusers, transporters, and adult use dispensaries. This move aims to boost equity and access in the cannabis industry. So if you're in the game, it's time to roll with the state's support and elevate your business to new heights. How about releasing some more med licenses so somebody like Mrs. Weedman can open up a med store?
Yeah.
How about that, Illinois? How about opening up another 50 med licenses for the people? NASCAR is gone green, literally. Rookie driver Skunk Davis Jr. debuted the first cannabis-sponsored car, number 420 at the Brickyard 400, sporting a hemp fiber suit, cruising at laid-back 55 miles per hour.
Nice.
Skunk brought chill vibes to the track. Fans snap pics, nacho sales spiked, and Blaze Trails Botanicals celebrated the win for normalization. Skunk's goal, maybe 60 miles per hour next time with some CBD lotion for the wrist. Cannabis drinks are rolling into the liquor stores, and it's a game changer. Thanks to the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp-derived THC is legal, letting brewers infuse your favorite beverages with a little extra chill. The marketing booming, but the regulation's still catching up. It's now or never moment. So sip responsibly, enjoy the ride. It's a whole new world of the buzz. Let's talk about Kiva Rosal, one of the hundreds of women punished for using THC during pregnancy. Even though she gave birth to a perfectly healthy baby girl, in Idaho, after Roswell admitted using marijuana for severe morning sickness, Child Protective Services slapped her on the state's child abuse registry for a minimum of 10 years. No hearing, no proof of harm, just the stigma of THC. This isn't unique. Dozens of states define parental substance use as a child abuse, echoing the growing ideology of fetal personhood. These lawsuits arguing Idaho violated her rights. If she wins, it could free countless women from being unfairly labeled, giving them their dignity and career prospects back. Keep informed, stay lifted, and keep fighting for fairness, everyone out there. And this is Kiva, man, sending some prayers your way. Hopefully you win this, and you'll save a lot of people along with you. So, in a twist that's shaking up Massachusetts politics, Suffolk County Sheriff Stephen Tompkins has been indicted on charges of extorting a cannabis company. The feds alleged he pressured Ascend Wellness Holdings for $50,000 after a stock deal soared. Tompkins, once a media and public affairs pro, had vouched for Ascend in multiple licensing applications. His arrest raised questions about the integrity of the state's cannabis program and its social equity goals. Oklahoma's cannabis scene is getting a facelift. The Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, OMMA, is requiring all licensed businesses to designate a managing owner by September 5th. This comes as part of the transition for the new Med Portal system, aiming to streamline operations and enhance transparency. So, if you're in the Sooner State green game, make sure your paperwork's in order before the deadline. Vape tech is evolving. Think heavy metal-free coils, terpene-rich flavors, and safety-first design. ASTM International is crafting standards to ensure reliability and consumer protection. Research shows cannabis users inhale differently than nicotine vapes, influencing device designs. Innovations like modifiers and other customizable flavors, enhancing and vaping experience as the market grows, consistency and safety remains top priorities. Georgia hemp entrepreneurs are challenging Senate Bill 494, arguing it imposes severe restrictions that threaten their business. The law, effective since October 2024, bans smokable hemp flower, limits THC-infused edibles to 10 milligrams per serving, and mandates new licenses and test requirements. Plaintiffs claim that measures conflict with the 2018 Farm Bill and have led to significant revenue losses, with some businesses relocating out of state. Attorney Zakiah Watson Kafil, representing the plaintiffs, asserts that the state law undermines federal regulations. The lawsuit seeks to block the enforcement of SB 494, aiming to restore product availability and protect local businesses. As the legal battle unfolds, Georgia's hemp industry faces uncertainty, with entrepreneurs advocating for a balance between state regulations and federal guidelines to ensure sustainable growth. Muskegon, Michigan is turning up the heat on late-night cannabis access. City officials have approved extending cannabis drive-through hours until 2 a.m. Damn. Aligning with the city's nightlife vibe. This move aims to curb illegal street sales and enhance safety for offering a regulated, convenient alternative. As the cannabis industry evolves, Muskegon is adapting to meet consumers' needs while promoting public safety.
That's pretty smart. And if you don't want your dispensary to stay open,
Right,
then you
then
can
don't.
close. Right?
But everyone that's got a drive-through is going to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll be able to do curbside pickup.
Yeah.
Like, if someone if they
Order
don't have
online
someone comes out and just delivers it. Over to you, Mrs. Weedman.
All right. Political, state, and business news continued with Mrs. Weedman. Missouri cannabis regulators are proposing new rules to revoke or deny permits to serial offenders, clarify social equity microbusiness guidelines, and tighten hemp-derived THC product recalls. These changes aim to bolster compliance and equity in the state's evolving market. The public comment period ends August 21st. Stay tuned for updates. Michigan's cannabis industry is currently experiencing significant challenges, including regulatory changes, market oversaturation, and labor disputes. The Michigan Cannabis Regulatory Agency has implemented measures to ensure product safety, such as banning certain chemical residues and requiring testing for substances like MCT oil and vape cartridges. Despite these efforts, the market faces oversupply issues, leading to decreased prices and financial strain on businesses. Employees within the industry have reported deteriorating work conditions, including inadequate facilities and a lack of proper equipment. Additionally, a lawsuit against Timber Cannabis resulted in a $205,000 settlement after allegations that the company withheld customer tips from employees.
Oh,
These,
dirty.
yeah, these developments highlight complexities and challenges the Michigan's cannabis industry is facing as it navigates regulatory scrutiny, market dynamics, and labor relations. Tetra Lounge, a Denver cannabis lounge, is facing legal trouble after allegedly selling marijuana and psilocybin at an event. State inspectors observed booths inside selling weed, booths outside selling psilocybin and DMT,
Sounds like my kind of party.
and booths outside giving away psilocybin infused gummies. The lounge denies the allegations, claiming the city is blatantly lying and discrediting a minority owned small business. A hearing is scheduled for October 10th.
Man, leave Tetra alone. They're just having fun. Man.
Republican Greg Stube has reintroduced the Marijuana 1 to 3 Act, aiming to reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 under the Controlled Substances Act. This legislative push aligns with President Trump's consideration of administrative reclassification. Stube argues that marijuana should not be treated the same as heroin and LSD, advocating for scientific research and policy reform. While some conservatives express concern, others support the move for its potential medical benefits and the challenge it presents to industries like Big Pharma and the prison system. The bill's reintroduction reflects ongoing bipartisan efforts to reform cannabis policy at the federal level. The MJ Bowl is heating up. California and New York are going bi-coastal to see who takes the crown in pre-rolls, flower, cartridges, concentrates, and edibles. Critics, ganjiers, and enthusiasts will taste, rate, and debate the best of the best. December 4th at MJ BizCon, the winners will drop. You can join in with consumer judging kits. Indiana's Governor Mike Braun is continuously optimistic about federal marijuana rescheduling under President Trump, suggesting it could accelerate state-level legalization efforts.
Remember, he said that a few years
Only
ago.
if it goes federal.
Yep.
Braun believes that national reform might provide the fire needed to overcome conservative resistance in Indiana's legislature. However, the state's senator remains firmly opposed to legalization, highlighting the ongoing internal party debate on cannabis reform. President Trump is considering reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug, which would ease restrictions and facilitate medical research. However, this proposal has sparked division within the MAGA movement. Figures like Matt Walsh and Jack Posobiec oppose the change, fearing it could promote societal decline. The debate highlights a cultural and ideological split within the MAGA movement. While some conservatives equate weed with liberal counterculture, others, particularly those with libertarian leanings, support reclassification for medical use. Public support for legalization is high, with national polling indicating about 68% in favor. The White House confirmed the process began under President Biden and stated that all policy implications are under review, emphasizing decisions will be based on the public's best interest. Bullshit. New Hampshire Governor Kelly Ayotte is standing firm on her opposition to marijuana legalization. Ayotte stated, "If federal law changes, I have to comply, but my position has been and continues to be that we should not legalize marijuana in the future." Her concerns include potential impacts on youth mental health and challenges in measuring impairment for road safety. While Ayotte acknowledges the federal government's authority, she emphasizes that her stance on state level legalization remains unchanged. This position underscores the ongoing debate over cannabis policy and its implications for public health and safety. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has called a second special legislative session, urging lawmakers to regulate hemp THC products like alcohol. This comes after a Democratic walkout during the first session, which prevented a vote on the matter. However, within hours of the new session's start, the state unanimously passed a bill to ban hemp THC products, directly contradicting Abbott's push for regulation. The debate centers on balancing public safety with the interest of the state's $8 billion hemp industry. Abbott advocates for a regulatory framework that includes age restrictions and child-resistant packaging, while some lawmakers push for a complete ban. The outcome of this session could significantly impact Texas's hemp market and its consumers. So stay tuned as this showdown unfolds. Yeah. Back to you, Mr. Weedman.
Thank you.
I forgot your name.
For
I'm
a
like, did I
second
call
there.
you your first name, your nickname,
You
your
haven't
show
called me
name?
by. You haven't called me by.
It's been a minute.
It's been a
It's
long
been a
time.
minute.
Been a few years
Yeah.
since we had a mess up.
Slip up.
I think you've said your own given
Yeah.
name more lately than you've said mine, which is great. In Maine, some dispensaries are selling $40 ounces of cannabis. Sounds like a bargain, right? But
Mhm.
experts warn much of this product comes from illegal Chinese-run grow houses, often using banned pesticides and fertilizers. Without mandatory testing in Maine's medical market, these tainted products can slip through the cracks, so that cheap weed might not be the deal it seems. Arizona's market just hit a rough patch. Q2 of 2025 sales dropped 13.7% to around $298 million. I don't feel sorry for you because that's pretty big, but yes, going down that much. But you did do almost $300 million. That's banging. Adult use sales slid 10.7% and medical sales plummeted a whopping 26.3%. Oh, gosh. Medical's rolling downhill fast. Now a tiny fraction of what it used to be. Looks like the green rush slowed way down. Time for operators to pivot smartly. Sucks. I know it, but we've seen it not even do $100 million a month, but you're still there. Just fix your shit. I know what's going on in that market. So you just need to fix it. You know, you're slow down too right now too. It's too hot to go outside. It's like 100. Well, it was hot out there this year, wasn't it?
It's hot out.
You know, so just be patient, fix your shit, fix your sales, and you'll be all right. Massachusetts got audited, and the Cannabis Control Commission got roasted. They messed up a prorated license fee, lost cash, played favorites, and broke state rules. Enforcement delays, fee mix-ups, and shady licenses perks, and eroding trust. The auditor is calling for serious reforms, and she'll be back in 6 months if seeing anything actually changes. Keep an eye out for this one. It's interesting. And last week we read that they want to recriminalize.
Mhm.
And
That's insane. So backwards.
Texas vets and advocates are calling for the Texas cannabis revolution. Standing strong is Governor Abbott's second special sessions as the VFW vet shared that cannabis literally saved my life after brain surgeries and addiction pharma meds. They're fighting SB 6, formerly SB 3, which would ban THC while pushing for freedoms, healing, and real talk, not prohibition politics. Big win for hemp. Senator Amy Klumbacher just scored $1 million for research in the ag spending bill. Half's for industrial hemp fiber and the other half targets pesky mycotoxin crop losses. This is more than green talks. It's innovation for durable, eco-friendly hemp products like insulation, shirts, flooring. Science meets stoner smarts, baby. What it didn't say in that description is cottonmouth. Holy Jesus. Good Lordy. Maybe if I wasn't talking so much, maybe I wouldn't have had cottonmouth, but wow.
Wow.
That was major cottonmouth. Sorry,
You had a moment
everybody.
there. You had a moment there.
Oh, whew. Major update. The American Trucking Association is deeply concerned about marijuana potentially being rescheduled from Schedule 1 to 3 and what it could mean for DOT drug testing. In testing rules evaporate, we might be cruising blind on the highway safety. They're requesting clarity from DOT to keep impaired drivers off the road. Stay woke, stay safe, stay smooth. Listen up, cannabis peeps out there. Native tribes are playing the long game, rolling out hemp-derived THC products, even in states where weed is still criminalized. Case in point, the Lac du Flambeau's Little Pines dispensary opened right next to the Munchies joint. Perfect combo, right? Tribal sovereignty meets savvy business moves as indigenous brands expand, proving green innovation isn't waiting on state laws. Sovereignty all the way, baby. Michigan's cannabis scene hit a snag in July. Sales hit 274 million, down 4.5% from last year. I don't feel sorry for you either. You're still doing almost 300 million. It sucks that you're down, but you keep on dropping your prices. I mean, when I can go to fucking State and get 1,200 milligrams of fucking edibles for $25, phew, come on now, just you just got to get more people from Illinois and Indiana and Ohio and everywhere else to come to your state again. Just like what happened in Colorado. They were king for so long. La King, right? Billions. There were nobody around them. And then all these other states open around them, their sales drop because they don't need to come to your state anymore. Is what happens, Michigan. But still, people still go for those 1,200 milligrams for $25 over in New Buffalo over there. Nuts. Anyway, adult use sales dipped 4.3% year over year, while medical fell, dropping 64.3%. Prices dropped to $997 a pound. Average flower sliding 21.8% from last year. Time for a pivot. Michigan's operators stay green. Figure it out. Just keep on plugging away. You'll be all right too, just like Arizona. Big legal move. The Supreme Court just granted a 60-day extension to cannabis companies like Canna Provisions and Wiseacre Farms to file their appeal in the challenge against federal weed prohibition. Deadline's now bumped up to August 25th to October 24th. The case drops deep constitutional issues, questioning interstate cannabis bans under law. More time, more strategy. This shit is getting real, though. This is like fucking crazy. We'll see what happens. Bill Maher taking credit for Trump's possible move to reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. On Real Time, Maher joked, and they said it wasn't a smart move to have dinner with Trump. He's calling it a win for weed lovers everywhere. Whether it's Maher's influence or Trump's political strategy, we're here for the green gains. Let's see what happens in a couple weeks. Everything's a couple weeks. Q2 cannabis earnings are in, and yikes, not the green rush everyone was hoping for. Verano's revenue dipped 9%. Cresco Labs slid 11%. True Leaf stayed flat. Even the big players are feeling the pinch a little bit. Village Farms is moving up in the ranks, though. Look at the industry. Looks like the industry's still in the weeds. Time to trim the fat and pivot and go to the high ground. High Time's back. Ms. Weedman.
Yep.
I found an article, the new one I think you'd like from them. It's been a minute since we've read stuff from them. So the green rush is over. Welcome to the cannabis quiet era.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, it was never going to be all sunshine and legal gummies, but few imagined it would unravel this fast. Just 5 years ago, cannabis legalization seemed like the fastest growing industry in North America. Between 2018 and 2021, investors poured billions into grow ops, dispensary chains, and weed tech startups. Everyone from venture capitalists to celebrities wanted a piece of the green rush. Politicians competed to out-progressive each other on cannabis reform. Analysts called it the next tech boom. Companies were labeled the Apple or the Amazon of cannabis.
Ugh.
And for a moment, it felt like they were.
Ugh.
Fast forward to 2025. The landscape has shifted as the hype wears off. What comes next is something stranger, a kind of capitalist hangover. The dawn of a post-rush economy feels more like a cautionary tale. Joseph Schumpeter, part of a legendary group of 20th century economists, dedicated his work to unraveling the dynamics of business cycles. He saw these cycles as a process of emergence, consolidation, and eventual decline. New technologies allowed businesses to emerge and trigger chains of innovation. Schumpeter recognized that promising new products and nascent economies often carried the seeds of their own impermanence, destined to evolve or fade as markets shifted. In cannabis, though, a consolidation and The consolidation and decay came surprisingly fast. Take Tilray. Once the darling of Canada's legalization story, the company's 2018 IPO was historic. The first cannabis stock to trade on NASDAQ, its valuation ballooned to over 11 figures at its peak. Today, it is worth a fraction of that, below the $1 billion mark. Those depreciations have real consequences. They cause deep cuts to their operations to satisfy the board of directors, just like Canopy Growth did, shedding hundreds of employees and shuttering facilities in 2023 and 2024. In the U.S., the dramatic fall of MedMen got a lot of attention too. Less was written about State House Holdings, Slang Worldwide, Schwayze, and other companies that either collapsed or fell under heavy financial pressure. Because the industry is still federally illegal, though, cannabis companies cannot file for bankruptcy protection. They cannot legally go bankrupt, causing many other companies to spiral into debt or restructure under creditor pressure. Numerous companies reduced operations, filed for creditor protection, declared insolvency, or collapsed entirely. It was clearly a combination. Too much hype, not enough market. Add to that the fact that cannabis companies are limited in how they can be traded on major exchanges. With relatively low market capitalization and liquidity, it adds volatility. Eventually, what really killed the mood in the market was the long promised but still unrealized prospect of a legal federal market in the U.S. Legal cannabis was supposed to kill the illicit trade, create a job boom, and flood state coffers with tax revenue. But in most states and provinces, the legal market is oversaturated, overtaxed, and structurally
Pow,
inefficient.
pow. We've been saying this forever. I love this.
Supply routinely outpaces demand. Growers in Oregon and Michigan have reported wholesale flower prices collapsing below $500 per pound. In California, excess product has led to crop dumping, with producers destroying inventory rather than paying taxes on it. The current administration, under pro cannabis Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, has prohibited all sorts of legalization spin offs like synthetic derived hemp products, heavily seizing illicit cannabis in an attempt to revive what is left of a struggling legal cannabis market. And despite billions in legal sales, the unregulated market still outpaces the legal sector in both scale and accessibility. The cannabis economy was built like a startup ecosystem, fast, bloated, and overly financialized. Multi state operators borrowed heavily to build vertical empires. Many issued junk bonds and convertible debt backed by promises of imminent federal legalization. But when reforms stalled in Congress and retail revenue failed to meet forecasts, the debt came due. Some companies were operating under projections that national legalization would arrive by 2022. Instead, they are stuck navigating fragmented state markets, burning cash with no ability to scale efficiently. And even where legalization happened, like New York or New Jersey, bureaucratic rollouts and local moratoriums stall store openings, leaving producers with no sales channels. According to market analysis, only 27% of cannabis companies turned a profit last year. So now what? It might be a little speculative, but we may be entering the post-rush epic of cannabis, a time when the fantasy of easy profits gives way to the reality of institutional fatigue, market correction, and regulatory reckoning. This is not the golden age. It is the moment where things either consolidate into a handful of corporate giants or break open into something more decentralized, leaner, and sustainable. That future is not written yet, but there are signs of a shift. Hybrid business models that blend cannabis with hospitality, education, or culture are gaining ground. Some states are testing cooperative structures and craft certifications that could give small producers a competitive edge. Despite all of this, the cannabis market seems to be regaining a degree of stability. The crashes have helped many reimagine a healthier approach to cannabis business, leaving space for culture based and more grounded models. Smaller, leaner, community rooted cannabis businesses are doing better. Even some big companies that overshot in the early days have been cleaning up their balance sheets. Cannabis is now legal for more than 50% of adult Americans. Paradoxically, the economic infrastructure around it remains shaky. But this is not a story of failure. It is a story of growing pains, of an industry scaled at tech boom speed without the stability of good old agricultural economics. Maybe it was inevitable. The plant was asked to carry too many dreams at once: social justice, state revenue, job creation, corporate profits, rural development, and vibes. Now that the wave has crested, what is left is a quieter, more honest task: rebuilding cannabis as an agricultural product, a cultural good, and a regulated industry. Far from a miracle, but still something worth preserving. There is no rush anymore, and maybe that is exactly what cannabis culture needs.
They're back.
They're back.
Been a minute since we read an article from
Yeah.
them. It's great
It's
to have them
good,
back
right?
in our article readings. It's amazing. So glad they got
Yeah.
bought. It was good
Yeah.
stuff. So international news. Guernsey's politicians are lighting up debate, half support to criminalizing cannabis for oppose, and 11 are on the fence. Vice President Andy Cameron says it's time to explore legislation, regulation, and taxation. Medicinal cannabis has been legal since 2021, and deputies want a Canadian-style model. Decriminalization, not full legalization, is a goal. Less jail, more common sense. Guernsey might be the next chill spot. If you don't know where that is, I had to look it up. Sorry. Channel Islands between France and the UK next to Jersey, not New Jersey, Jersey. So, yes. High Tide's making waves in Germany. They inked a $27.2 million deal, snagged 51% of Rumexin's Pharma, top-tier medical cannabis importer, while with Germany's patient count soaring from 250 to 900K in just a year. Jeez. Oh, my God, it's crazy. This is the move. High Tide's bringing the Canadian discount game to Europe. Stay tuned, the green rush is going global. Kai Kalker's making waves in Belize. The island hit the green light with 365 verified signatures, over 26% of registered voters, paving the way for cannabis legalization referendum. Councilor Elo Rosado's leading the charge, aiming for a vote as early as October. It's about local control, economic growth, and giving the people a voice. Oh, let's go, Belize. Canada's cannabis industry is rolling in the green. $76.5 billion in GDP since 2018, with $43 billion from labor income. That's nearly 100,000 jobs annually, with Ontario leading the way. Sales hit $5.8 billion in 2024, mostly from recreational use. The green rush is real in Canada. It's helping fuel the economy. So the industry is looking good. Canada's cannabis scene is leveling up. 80% of consumers are now exclusively buying from legal sources, up from 54% in 2019.
Well,
price gap between legal and illegal
fast.
cannabis has narrowed to just $1.49 per gram. And with more dispensaries and product variety, the green rush is real in Canada, like I just said, and the black market is losing a little bit of its grip. It's going legit up there to the north, our friends to the north. France is flipping the script on medical cannabis. After a rocky start, the government submitted a comprehensive framework to the EU in March of 2025. Experts say this rigorous pharmaceutical approach could reduce stigma and improve access. Might not be the fastest rollout, but it's designed to be durable and exportable. France is setting the stage for a robust cannabis healthcare system. Pretty good. Experts believe that Jesus may have used cannabis oil to perform his miracles.
Yep. You ready for this?
By
people?
ATI.
Let's go.
Tell us about him, Mrs Weedman.
By 2-0. What?
By ATI is the whatever
The
published.
publication.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jesus and his apostles might have used cannabis oil to perform his healing miracles. Controversial theory that is being championed by a number of experts. Author David Beinenstock, who is also the editor-in-chief of High Times magazine, believes that cannabis was widely available during Jesus' era 2,000 years ago. He also believes that cannabis was used all across the Middle East to treat various illnesses and ailments. In an interview with the Daily Star Online, Beinenstock said, "There is nothing different in the efficacious cannabis oil used today that would have been available to people in Jesus' time. It's simply a matter of concentrating the cannabis into the oil and absorbing it through the skin. Scholars have pointed to a specific text from the Bible to support this theory. They claim that a recipe for Jesus' holy anointing oil in Exodus 30, verses 22 to 25, actually contains cannabis. It goes like this: take the following fine spices: 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels of quanabasum, quanabasum, cannabis, 500 shekels of cassia, and a hind of olive oil, that is. Make these into a sacred, I'm sorry, I'm just high. Make these into a sacred anointing oil, a fragrant blend, the work of a perfumer. It will be the sacred anointing oil. In that Bible passage, there's a mysterious herb mentioned. Cannabis? Really, it says guana. I don't know how I'm supposed to say this.
Spell it out.
Cannabasum.
There you go.
That is now commonly identified as cannabasum, as some historians have reason to believe that this herb was in fact cannabis. Chris Bennett, a cannabis historian and author of a number of books related to it, believes, too, that cannabis is in the Good Book, and even asserts that if cannabis was one of the main ingredients of the ancient anointing oil, and receiving this oil is what made Jesus the Christ and his followers Christians, then persecuting those who use cannabis could be considered antichrist. Bennett further cites the work, I don't know. Okay. He further cites the work of a little known Polish etymologist, Sula Bennett. In 1936, Bennett demonstrated that the root of the word con translates to hemp, or reed, while the bosom translates to aromatic. I've got like the giggles right now. I can't even focus here. Just want to like run around. Most historians believe that cannabasum refers to the root extract calamus, which is used for its medicinal purposes to this day. But Bennett claims that this is the result of a simple mistranslation, which she argues occurred sometime during the 3rd century. The theory that cannabasum refers to cannabis in the Bible naturally has its skeptics. Linton John Musselman, a professor of botany at Old Dominion University who's familiar with the theory, maintains that the correct translation of cannabasum is the original one, calamus. Musselman also asserts that the medicinal properties of calamus align with the healing benefits of the anointing oil that's described in the Bible. He explains, calamus is a very important component of Ayurvedic medicine and has been shown to have efficacy. Regardless, people the world over love to think that Jesus was a stoner. Indeed, well, they said toker. Indeed, the stoner, but there they say stoner. Indeed, the Stoner Jesus Bible Study, that's a thing, in Colorado insists that Jesus was peaceful and loving. He went from house to house, and he was always accepted. Only a stoner could do that.
True.
True. He was a peaceful guy. Definitely. He had to have talked about cannabis.
Oh, I mean it was
come
everywhere
on,
then.
right?
The trade, the Silk Road, everything
Right.
came, So oil, they found it in graves, right? We've
Yeah.
read that before in the past too, and tombs and cannabis, hemp seeds, and I mean it was all around.
Yeah.
And then the American government fucked it all up, and everybody followed suit.
Yeah.
Liars. Oh, Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
I hope you get the giggles when we're done with this show.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say?
Have a great week, everybody. I don't know. Mr. Weedman, am I supposed to say something?
No, do you have anything
Oh,
else to
thanks for listening.
say?
See you all soon.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I don't know where. You'll
Yeah,
see
come hang
me.
out with Mr. Weedman
Yeah.
though this Saturday at Goodies.
Goodies.
I'll be there from 1 to 3 o'clock rolling doinks, and 8 Decades gear will be in the shops. Check us
Yep.
out. You can feel, touch, see, hold it. Buy a steamroller, buy a tray set, buy a jar. Will be there rolling doinks, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody out there. And everybody out there, thanks for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. As Paulie always says, smoke smart, puff puff and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.